Yeah.
One
Sorry.
second. Yep. We're just welcome back our Real America's Voice audience here. Sorry, it's a complicated clock, and with our power outage this morning, our technical abilities are a little limited. But yeah, so Rod Swanson is this guy that was involved at a very high level, it sounds like, investigating the Las Vegas massacre shooting, which would strike me as something that a young man would be hyper aware of and kind of fascinated, because I mean the conspiracy theories ran wild with that one, because we never really did find out what the motive was. We never got a real clear narrative, Blake.
It seems to have been a shooting caused by pure boomer ennui or something. Like, it was just this guy, and you could see his family members, and you're like, okay, this guy might be weird enough to do a mass shooting.
We never got
We never
clarity
did.
on
He didn't leave a manifesto, and sometimes that's how it is.
So to see this kid referencing another sort of
but
very high-profile event.
I think Pozo told us it's like a guy having the name Bromer Simpson on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's possible. Miranda, we're going to welcome back radio. I know you've only got a couple more minutes here, so we'll wrap up our interview when we welcome back national radio. So just hang right there. We'll be back in 5 seconds. All right, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. Just finishing up here with Miranda Devine from New York Post, and also the new book, The Big Guy. Check it out. We would flash the artwork to your new book, but we're just happy to be here. Our power went out this morning, Miranda, and like our team's been busily trying to get the TriCaster back running. So apologies, but The Big Guy, the follow-up to The Laptop from Hell, which obviously was a blockbuster, Miranda. So there's so many unanswered questions. I guess if you're going to sum this up for us, Miranda, we've got these weird online presence that just goes dark. He's referencing FBI investigators from Las Vegas massacre. What questions remain, and where do we go from here?
I'll just clear up one thing about Rod Swanson.
Yeah.
He was not investigating Las Vegas. He was at that point running criminal investigations for the state of Nevada. So he was peripherally involved, talking to victims and so on, but wasn't investigating it. He seems like a decent guy. He said to me, it's inconceivable that the FBI didn't knock on the door of this kid. So I think that's the big question is, did the FBI knock on the door, which everybody involved in law enforcement says would have had to have happened? Did they have some involvement with him because of this violent online rhetoric? How involved were they? And if they were involved, why aren't they telling us about it? Why is the Trump FBI just not commenting and going dark as well? Why aren't they giving us chapter and verse on what motivated this guy? Why is there so much secrecy in terms of the oversight by the Senate? Clay Higgins found a whole lot of other interesting and disturbing information, like, for instance, that they cremated the body soon after. Another source has told me that the toxicology isn't comprehensive as it should be. There's a lot of weird things, hosing the roof down, etc. I don't know why Kash Patel doesn't tell the American people exactly what's going on instead of just saying no comment.
Yeah, there's a lot there, and I remember the cremation of the body too, which is very suspicious. None of the, I'll be honest, and I try to. Listen, having been the subject of some conspiracy theories more recently, I view them all with suspicion now, because I will just tell you, there's like 1,000 mistakes that get made in every assumption that leads to conspiracy theories. So I try to be very cautious, conservative when approaching these things, but it does seem true that some of this stuff just seems just like there's massive gaping holes in this story, and you would think the FBI would be, especially with the turnover of administrations, they would be motivated to clear some of this up. I'm excited to see your future reporting, Miranda, because I know that you're going to remain on this now that you've caused quite a stir with this first offering here.
Thanks so much, Andrew. And that's just the most important message, I think, of all of this is what you just said, is none of us want to engage in conspiracy theories. It drives people mad. You've experienced that yourself. So many rabbit holes that people plunge down when there's a vacuum of information, when there's a huge important story like this, where the president has almost been assassinated and we have a vacuum of information, conspiracy theories rush in. So it's really incumbent on those people in charge to just be straightforward and open and honest to the furthest extent that they're able to, while maintaining, operational security or national security or whatever it is they're worried about.
Yeah, well said. Miranda Devine, New York Post, author of The Big Guy. Thank you so much for your time, Miranda. I know you got a dash.
Thank you.
All right.
Great.
God bless you. Blake, are you satisfied with the Butler story? You are a very contrarian, non-conspiratorial guy.
I feel like the best argument I've heard is that Trump seems pretty satisfied with the explanations.
She just said they're not satisfied, nor is the family.
Well, he's never said that he's super disappointed with it or anything. When they ask him about it, he mostly does just say they've told me this, blah blah blah. I don't know. There's always, with big events, there's always a desire to have, bigger forces behind it. Mm-hmm. And I think that leads people down a lot of rabbit holes. And the Vegas shooting is the most egregious example. We had people running around with it was a joint ISIS-Antifa operation. That was one I heard.
It's a weird one.
It was weird. Shooters are crazy.
It could just be some crazy guy.
People who do mass shootings are nuts. They often have idiosyncratic motives that don't make a lot of sense, because if you're a person who's sane, you don't try to murder a bunch of people. Exactly. And so when you dive deep into it, you often get baffling stuff. And, I suspect there might be a thing they're hiding where they had contact with him, where they should have known he was going to do it. But one of the things is just, there's a lot of crazy people in America, and not all of them are going to be arrested.
Sounds true. We'll see you tomorrow, guys.